Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Bobby with Tech360.tv, and today we're going to be talking about drones. Two of DJI's newest drones, the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom. As someone who's never flown a Mavic before, is the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic 2 Zoom good for a newbie flyer? Let's find out. Okay, first let's talk about the design. The thing that struck out to me first and foremost is the size of the Mavic. Now I did hold the original Mavic, and the Mavic 2 is a bit larger. It feels very robust. If you want something really ultra compact to go traveling with or throw into your backpack and not think about things, then this could be, see I even folded it wrong right there. This could be at that limit for you because this is the size of it, as you can see. And yeah, I can throw this in my backpack, but it is a bit weighty. So just keep your eyes out for that. Also, some of the new features on this, which I'll hold there since I just folded that one, is there's a lot more sensors and cameras on this than on the Mavic. You've got cameras on the back, you've got cameras on the side, you've got sensors on the top, sensors on the bottom, and you've got lights. And then you got a new battery on this, which is different from the old Mavic, that it actually has a circular sensor on it, and now there's more power in the battery, so it lasts about 30 minutes or so for average flight time. But that's pretty much it. The propellers in the box, you get 4 propellers and you get a few extra ones as well, which is good. And you get the controller, has been improved slightly, which means they take these control knobs you take off and you store right underneath this. It's actually quite good. But let's talk about some of the other features. Now I mentioned that there's 2 different cameras on this, right? Now, this is the Zoom. Now the Zoom has a smaller camera than the Pro. Now the Zoom has a 12 megapixel camera, a smaller sensor, and has 2x optical zoom and 4x digital zoom. You're shooting in 1080p. However, the Pro, which is my personal favorite because I like great optical quality, is using a Hasselblad camera. Has a 1-inch sensor. So that 1-inch sensor is very, if you use the Sony RX100 series, it's the same size sensor as that camera or other compact cameras out there in that regard. There is no zoom on this feature, but it has 20 megapixels of resolution. Beautiful 4K video. The imagery next to each other, you're gonna notice a difference, okay? The Mavic Pro looks beautiful. This is beautiful as well. In daylight, it's kind of hard to tell the difference, but at night, this is where the Mavic Pro really stands out. And if you want to do night drone videography or photos, it's pretty spectacular. Okay, but besides the cameras, battery life is the same, speed is the same. It goes, I think the max speed is 72 kilometers per hour, which I never got to that speed, but they say it goes to that. Distance up to a few kilometers out. Again, depending where you fly, interference, I think I got it to around a 1+ kilometers before I started getting interference and losing signal. And then of course you can go up to height, which you got to go by the law. They say about 120 is the legal limit. You can push it higher, of course. You can see many videos that go 500 meters and so forth up. Do that at your own risk, but it can go pretty high and pretty far. Okay, so let's talk about what it's like to fly this for a first-time person. So the first thing we always think about when you're flying a drone is, am I going to break it first? And is it going to just fly away and I'll never see my drone again, and then $2,000 plus Singapore dollars is gone, out the window, that's it. I will say this, what you're paying for, these drones are not cheap. You're paying for a lot of dummy-proof system features in there that are going to protect you. First and foremost, with all the new cameras and sensors around this, it has great obstacle detection, meaning that when it's flying, it will beep, 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 and it will stop and it will go around things. Now we did a test actually, we went around a tree in a park, and you know, trees got branches and things like that, and it kind of hovered and it kind of like will maneuver around and go underneath branches. It blows your mind what they did with these. Now, I do want to let you know at nighttime, and the setup and on the screen it will tell you this, it cannot detect obstacles the same way, so you're on your own at nighttime. But during the day, with the cameras and infrared settings, you're pretty much good to go. The other thing that I was very nervous about was taking off and landing, right? Because we were like, you take off, you don't want to just fly away, or landing, you don't want to just crash it. Well, there's a feature in this, which if you've flown DJI drones, you probably already know this, and I'm not saying anything new, but for a newbie, there's the takeoff, which you swipe and it just goes up about 1.5 meters, 2 meters, and it just hovers there. And when you land, you can hit the go home, and it actually takes a picture with the cameras and has a GPS and it remembers the location or thereabouts, about around a meter, 2 meters circumference, and it finds its way back home. You don't have to do anything, just swipe home and it just does its thing and it comes back down. Now, I was very, very happy with that because I'm thinking, okay, I've never flown a drone before, I don't want to slam it into the ground. It doesn't do that at all. But overall, flying it, I mean, it's very intuitive. You have one control that does, up and down and left and right and turn around. I mean, it's very easy to use and the instructions on the screen are very intuitive and so forth. Now, there are some features in there that, of course, you want to do with drone. You want to track things, right? And the tracking on this active tracking, they call it, actually works relatively well. And it supposedly goes lower than before. It's around 2 meters plus. You can have it hovering above you or whatever you want to track. And you don't need to have the controller on you to track. Actually, just basically draw a box around where you want to track, hit go, and it just follows it or it leads it depending on where the drone is at. Another cool feature that I liked was hyperlapse. It does that as well. Basically, takes a series of pictures as it's hovering over a certain location which you designate. It takes about 4 to 5 minutes depending on how long you want the video to be. But battery life flying on this. Let's talk about battery life for a second. Now, drones have always been touted as having, the battery life is not so good, 15, 20 minutes. You're getting about average 30 minutes of flight time on this. I will say that there's various different modes on this. Now, sports mode is where you can go the fastest. At that point, the battery is going to drain quicker. But if you're just in the normal program or tripod mode, it lasts for about 30 minutes thereabouts. So, I mean, I would definitely get 2 batteries if you're getting a drone like this because, you can't charge it with USB. So you need an extra charger. So good to have 2 batteries. There's another thing I want to, for newbies out there, is when you're flying this, you get nervous flying it, right? Of course, it's your first time, you're like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? And then you lose signal, which happens when you're flying in urban areas because there's a lot of interference with different Wi-Fi signals or different, whatever it could be, right? Magnetic signals. And you lose signal and all of a sudden your screen's shaking and the image is shaking and all of a sudden it's like everything's red, you're going, oh shit, my drone's gone. No, it actually will grab signal again. Just take a deep breath, take a moment, move around a little bit. It will still grab signal, and if it doesn't, it will come home. But overall, I gotta say, I was really, really impressed. My favorite of the 2, as I mentioned, is the Pro because of the imagery out of this. I mean, you can do 4K. If you wanted to get into videography, it has flatter profiles for this. You can adjust. You got 1080. You've got slow-mo video. There's a lot of things you can do with these things that's going to blow your mind. And I would say there's a lot of great videos on that. But I'm just coming from the newbie perspective of what it's like to fly this. I'm going to tell you, these are really cool pieces of tech, and I have a feeling that like for me personally, I think the Mavic 2 Pro would be a drone you can have for a couple of years at least and not feel like you're being dated because there's a lot of technology and they're always doing firmware updates on these to improve the functionality on it. So I would say these are definitely worth a look at. However, having said that, there are some things I didn't like about the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom. First off is when you get this, you're spending a lot of money. Like this is around $1,600 US. It comes with the controller, it comes with the charger, it comes with extra blades and all that stuff, but it doesn't come with a case. No, it only comes as this. So I felt for the price, DJI could have included a case. I mean, come on guys, it's an expensive piece of equipment, right? So you gotta buy that, that's extra. It comes with 1 battery, and you're gonna need more than 1 battery, so you're gonna have to buy another battery. By the time you're done buying the whole setup to where you're feeling comfortable with this, in Singapore dollars, mind you, you're looking around roughly 3K. Okay, that's a lot for a drone. Okay, now you're getting fantastic quality, but I felt DJI could have included at least a case in this, okay? Another thing is, I think the size for some is going to be a challenging thing, especially if you want something for travel. I mean, that's where I guess the Mavic Air comes into play, or the Spark. But overall, I would say as a newbie, it's less intimidating than you think it is. You just gotta take that leap, and you just gotta take that leap of trust. And if you have a friend that's flown a drone before, go with your friend or watch a lot of videos on there how to set it up and how to fly it. And all the tutorials that even DJI has on their YouTube channel, because they will explain a lot that you might not get in the instruction manual, okay? And that's my thought on the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom. I really like this. This is really fun. They're less intimidating than I thought they would be initially. I think for a newbie, there's a lot of sensors and features and upgrades in there that makes it dummy-proof. for the most part, but also you can grow with it as you get better with the drones. And while it's expensive, I think if you want to get into drone flying and you want something that's going to last you for a few years, these are two drones you should definitely look at. Again, this is not something you're going to be using every single day of your life, but if you have the means to get it and you want it for those special moments, definitely take a look at it. Anyway, leave your comments and suggestions below. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Until the next one, take care.